Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Welcome to 3Con Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. We're here talking about NXT from March the 26th, 2024. Nothing in the realm of news and notes, but I will say this. This show featured Shawn Spears, Dijak, and Natalya. Shawn Michaels, I must say, your soul is as dirty as the bottom of a poor man's feet for booking those three people on one episode of NXT and then serving it to somebody like me who wants to like NXT. And you decided, oh yeah, Shawn Spears. But no. Shawn Spears versus Dijak. How about that for your first match on the show? Bro, this was booked with nothing but malice, malicious intent. This was booked with I did not want to watch this. In fact, I didn't see anything but the finish. That's how much I dislike everybody's involved with this. Dijak won. Do I care? No. All right. Will I elaborate? No. No, I won't elaborate. Dijak wins the match. It involves Joe Gacy, who I'm not a big fan of anymore. He used to be fun. Now he's kind of wacky, crazy guy, and I don't get it. Nor do I care. All right? It has something to do with chairs. But it also involves Shawn Spears. So I made it my business to not pay attention to this. This leads up to Duke Hudson versus Josh Briggs, which is a match that happens later in the show. Josh Briggs defeats Duke Hudson. It was fairly clean. You know, I don't remember any run-ins or anything like that. It was an okay match between two guys who are both very big. Josh Briggs was trash-talking Dijak, who was on commentary. So, yeah, Dijak was on this show twice. By the by. He was on commentary. Oh, my God, man. Oh, have mercy. If it wasn't for those girls, I wouldn't know what to do with this show. Dijak wins. Josh Briggs wins. They both were arguing about which one of them was going to fight Obafemi. Obafemi comes out to confront them, and he says that he is the Mountain, and he considers them both worthy challengers and challenged them both to a triple threat match at Stand and Deliver. So Dijak is going to get a pay-per-view match against Obafemi. He's gonna ruin everything with this guy, aren't they? I can't even enjoy Obafemi now because they want to put him adjacent to Dijak. Why would you do such things? I don't get it. I don't understand the obsession with Dijak. I'm not getting it. It ain't clicking with me. I'm not understanding why we like Dijak so much. Like, he sucks. And he's boring as all hell. Just look at the state of him. I mean, he's not particularly out of shape. He's not particularly terrible looking. He just looks like an accountant. He looks like he works in an office. Whatever. Let's just move on. Let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. Thea Hale defeated Jasmine Nix. This is Jasmine Nix's in-ring debut. She was actually not bad. She was not bad at all. And Thea Hale wins the match by submission. JC Jane was outside the ring making a mess of things. She snatched the towel from Andre Chase and she threw the towel in the ring. But before the referee could see it, Riley Osborne jumped in the ring to grab the towel. The referee sees Riley Osborne in the ring, ejects him for being in the ring. While he's being ejected, JC Jane is on the ring apron. She gets in Thea Hale's face. Thea Hale is yelling about how she thought they were friends. And JC Jane said they were never friends. And then she smacked Thea Hale. And you think with all these distractions and the outside environment being the way that it is, that Thea Hale was being set up to lose this match. but you would be wrong. She takes advantage of Jasmine Nix's inexperience to get on Kimura. Jasmine Nix taps out. Thea Hale wins this match. Then immediately JC Jane attacks Thea Hale, beat her up. And then Izzy Dame and Kiana James come down there. Now it's a 3-on-1 beatdown. And then Fallon Henley and Kalani Jordan run to the ring to make the save. So Thea Hale teams up with the babyfaces to run off JC Jane, Jasmine Nix, Izzy Dame, and Kiana James. So this was solid. For Jasmine Nix's first match, it was not terrible. She did a pretty sweet Pele kick in here. In the Discord, I posted a picture of how she looked a couple of years ago. She being Jasmine Nix, of course. She did incredible work with the lip fillers. She had virtually no lips a couple of years ago. I don't know if she was in college. So I think she was played volleyball or something. Soccer, maybe. So, but she turned herself into a real bombshell. And I have to say, I am impressed. A little surgery, a little lip filler. She did it. She did her part. My thing is, what made her want to be a wrestler? That's kind of one of those things where I'm just kind of you of all people want to be a wrestler for real? Or is this just kind of I'm on TV, maybe I can transition to something else? I don't know, man. That girl, she's a good looking girl, but she's actually not bad in the ring. And you could tell she put forth some effort. So, while it wasn't perfect, I had fun with it. I thought it was not bad. All right. Hank and Tank, Chase U, Brinley Reese, Idris Enofe, Malik Blade, and the Metaphor. They're all outside of an office. Later on, we figure out why they're outside of the office. They were all auditioning or interviewing, I guess, to see who was going to host Stand and Deliver. And my God, the Metaphor won. So the Metaphor, Noam Dar, you got to deal with him for Stand and Deliver. Oh, God, have mercy on our souls. Maybe they'll do something with Lash Legend that'll be fun. But maybe Jakara Jackson would do something that'll be fun. That girl is way too fine to be playing the back. She be playing the back corner. If there's anybody in the Metaphor who really don't do much at all, it's her. She don't do much of anything. They spent 3 parts of the show with this wonderful prime target, Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. They even managed to rope CM Punk and Randy Orton, of all people, into this thing. A great little movie. When they put it up on YouTube, it's one solid episode. It should be very good. Should tell you how great NXT is at telling stories low key, because a lot of the stories in NXT are things that have been going on for a year or so. Thea Hale's turn has been going on for a year. A long time, actually. Her whole storyline with JC Jane's been going on for a long time. Of course, Trick Mello has been going on for a long time. The Fallon Henley, Kiana James thing has been going on for a long time. They've been building up Lola Vice for over several months, probably over a year at this point. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on for a long time. Stax has been a part of the D'Angelo family for 2 years, I think. So they're not hot-shotting anything. They're letting things simmer. And as certain things, as the characters evolve and things like that, and they turn on each other, and you actually maintain your engagement in the product. But Prime Target was very good. The only thing I have an issue with when it comes to the Prime Target is they talked about, Trick Williams being from Philly. Basically, he moved to Philly when he was a kid to live with his uncle, what they call Sweet Baby James, who looks like an old pimp, because he probably is an old pimp. But the one thing I had is, I thought that the gimmick of Trick Mello was that they grew up together. And that was sort of the story, is that they were homeboys from the hood and went to the same hood. But now we're being told that, one of them grew up in Boston, the other one grew up in Philly. And I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what that was. Or maybe we're at the point where Edge and Christian aren't brothers anymore. They're best friends. And that's that. And I'm like, okay, sure. Go for it. Whatever. Alpha Academy. So Otis is on this show. I forgot they were even on this program. They're going to fight the War Dogs, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. So later on, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, they have a discussion about Braun Breaker's love of tan, which is apparently something that is problematic for certain people. So they have to make an inside joke about it, as Baron Corbin is talking about Braun being addicted to the tanning bed, and Braun saying like, oh no, this came from the sun. He didn't want to come out here looking all pale and ugly. And then he says he brought some sun for Baron Corbin, and it's a bottle of obviously a spray tan or something, some kind of liquid tan. And it has the sun wrote on it. So it's very inside baseball. And of course, they get accosted by some more guys that I don't like, Gallows and Anderson. NXT is really becoming overrun with people I don't like. So I'm fighting to keep optimistic on this program. But every week it's like you're getting more of an infection of just cast-offs that you don't need. We don't need these people. Of all the people on the WWE roster who are not doing anything, that could be fun characters like Cedric Alexander or Ashanti Theodonis or even Cameron Grimes, who hasn't been on TV in months, or maybe some other guys that I can't think of at the moment who are still employed that could come to NXT and do something fun. They decide, no. You get Dijak, you get Shawn Spears, and you get Natalya. And I'm saying, why? I mean, why? Why can't you just send Cedric Alexander to NXT? Why can't you send Apollo Crews back? I know that I kind of complained about Apollo Crews while he was there, but just send him on back. We could use him. I would appreciate it. In any event, we get Natalya. Lola Vice put a open challenge on Twitter, said that nobody was prepared for her Latina heat. She came out, cut a promo saying she got knockout power in both her hands and feet, and she looked good doing it. I have to say her promos need work. They were very forced, very, very forced. She doesn't feel natural yet, but she's got a great body, and she looks good, and her work is actually good, which is an interesting bit. Having that MMA background actually helps. And since Natalya is so old and she's been doing this for so long, she can keep up with the grappling aspect of it to make that work. So this match actually worked. All right. And even though I don't like Natalya, it was a good showcase for Lola Vice to be in the ring with somebody who has a lot more experience than she does. And to be able to hang with her is really good for Lola Vice. You see her weaknesses while she's there. Again, personality, maybe a little bit more. She's good at it, but she needs just a little bit more. And she needs to work on her promos a little bit. But other than that, Lola Vice is money. Especially from the look. Especially from that. She really got something going. Natalya wins the match after she counters a roll-up. Carmen Petrovich comes out there to cheer Natalya, which was kind of a low-key distraction for Lola Vice. So the match wasn't terrible. I actually didn't hate it. Now, in terms of promo skills need work, Sol Ruka, she cuts the promo. She has a vignette for her. And, of course, they go with the waves and all this kind of stuff, which, okay. She's a beach bum. I don't know. Free spirit, hippie. I don't know. I guess. She's our Ebony Queen, by the way. So, just remember that. Ebony Queen, Sol Ruka. She cuts a promo on Blair Davenport, saying that next week she's going to fight Blair Davenport, and it's going to be more than a match. This is going to be for every minute she spent in rehab, every minute she spent injured, having her career taken away from her. She's going to make Blair Davenport suffer. But she said it with almost no passion, almost no character. It was just kind of She even says it like, don't take my laid back persona, for a weakness. Like, I'm pissed. And I'm like, well, I would like for you to drop it a little bit and just go full anger. That to show layers to the character. And also, please no collar and elbow tie-ups next week. No arm drags, please. I would like to see no arm drags in matches where somebody tore up your knee. Blair Davenport responded by saying that all of this is just Sol Ruka's inexperience talking, and that she's excited to see how well the doctors repaired that ACL, and we're all going to find out next week. That was a pretty nasty line, I must say. I must say that was nasty. Roxanne Perez, she cut a promo. Her promos are actually getting a little bit better. Her promos are still a weak part of her persona, but they're getting better. She was watching old videos of herself in this vignette, and she was becoming quite disgusted, saying that the old Roxanne Perez was pathetic, gullible, and lame, and said that she's glad that Roxanne Perez is dead, and said that her heroes got her nothing, so she became her own hero. And now, she's going to show the proof that this is the right way to do things in her results. Lyra Valkyria ended up responding a little bit later, saying that there's always two paths to walk. And she was like, Professor Xavier and Magneto. I was like, oh no, we're not doing pop culture references, are we? And then she starts talking about some Game of Thrones stuff, I think it was, or was it Lord of the Rings? I don't know. But I was like, oh boy. Okay, sure. Just go for it. There's light and there's dark. I get it. So she starts talking about the voice in her mind is her moral compass. And, Roxanne Perez took the easy way out, and that Roxanne Perez did get beat when she was in that ladder match, which I forgot that it happened. And she couldn't climb that ladder. She had lost the championship. But then she starts talking about all the effort she put in, how she overcame and beat her heroes like Becky Lynch, and then said that the title deserves better than Roxanne Perez, which is offensive, if we're being honest. Somebody says an inanimate object deserves better than you. That's offensive to you and your kind. So, I'm actually okay with this. This ought to be a very good wrestling match. Both of these girls definitely need help on personality. Roxanne Perez is doing the best she can at improving. But that poor baby Lyra Valkyria, she's just happy to be here. And I cannot stand that. That's the worst gimmick in wrestling. I'm just happy to be here is legitimately the worst gimmick in wrestling. I can't stand it. I hate it 100%. Now, match of the night. Stacks. Channing Stacks Lorenzo. I forgot he even had a name. Stacks just fits just fine. Wrestled Ilya Dragunov. And Stacks is actually very good. As a wrestler, Stacks is very underrated. He's a good wrestler. And of course, Dragunov is Dragunov. So, of course, Dragunov wins the match. Torpedo Moscow, Stacks loses. Tony D'Angelo is watching this, orders Luca Crucifino to invite Ilya Dragunov to dinner next week. They're going to go to dinner in a very exclusive place. It sounds like it's, somewhere where Luca Crucifino was like, that place really exists? Like it's a myth. It's a legend. I'm like, okay. But they got something planned. They're going to sit down and have themselves more food, I guess. I gather. Ridge Holland. So Ridge Holland cuts the promo of his life in which he basically retires from wrestling. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. The bottom line is that he talks about, not letting this job affect what really matters, which is his family. And he made the decision that was best for his mental health and best for the health of his family, which is to step away from in-ring competition. But then he thanked everybody for their opportunities at Redemption, thanked NXT, thanked his coaches, thanked his trainers, all this kind of stuff. And that was pretty much it. And everybody was waiting for the swerve. That's what they were waiting for. We were waiting to see what's going on here, because there's just no way that they were going to let Ridge Holland talk uninterrupted for like 10 minutes, which they basically just let Ridge Holland talk uninterrupted for 10 minutes. I was shocked by this. Okay, I'm like, surely somebody's going to cut this guy off, tell him to shut the hell up, kick him in the balls, and then, force him to fight again. But no, he went out there. The people applauded when he said he was retiring, which I know had to hurt his feelings. But I think that might have also been the desired result. So they're still playing off of the old Ridge Holland injures people kind of gimmick, and he's having a tough time. He's got to deal with the guilt. Okay, whatever. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I'm interested in what's the next step. There are some people who are talking, and I'm being led to believe that Sheamus is going to be coming to NXT and maybe putting the fighting spirit back in Ridge Holland, and this is just a setup for that. Which that would be great, because the last thing Sheamus was doing before he got injured was he was mentoring the Brawling Brutes, but specifically he was mentoring Ridge Holland. So if Sheamus, who's literally not doing anything else on the main roster, if he wants to spend a little bit of time in NXT as a tag team partner for Ridge Holland or a mentor for Ridge Holland, that's fine with me. I don't hate that idea, if we're being honest. But is Ridge Holland gone for good? Probably not. It would be silly to think he would be gone for good. If he was going to be, if he was going to be gone for good as a shoot, why would they give him so much time to say goodbye? So clearly, it's an angle, and I really don't understand why he has so much time, and why did it have to be a live promo? Couldn't he have done it like in video form? I don't know. Maybe there was a very specific reason for that. And I think maybe it was to test his live performances, because it was actually the best promo he's ever cut. Really, I just felt like he ate up a little bit too much time. So, other than that, it was fine. So the main event, the War Dogs defeated Alpha Academy. Brian Breaker continues to show that he's a freak of nature by countering a Doomsday device into a power slam, and it was not the finish. That should be the finish. Akira Tozawa is literally like 160 pounds or something. If you snatch him out of the air and power slam him, bro, just pin him and call it a day. For future reference, don't let them talk you into doing more than that. All right? So they ended up powerbombing, they meaning Baron Corbin and Brian Breaker. They worked together to powerbomb Otis through a table, wrecked Akira Tozawa, and of course the War Dogs are still the tag team champions. The stipulation on this match is if Alpha Academy won, they would be added to the championship match at Stand and Deliver. But since they lost, we don't need to discuss that anymore. Next week is going to be a triple threat match between Axiom, Nathan Fraser, that team, versus the Good Brothers, versus the team of the LWO, and the winners will wrestle the War Dogs for the tag team titles at Stand and Deliver. And I'm thinking the Good Brothers are probably going to win that match. Okay. I'm not a fan of the Good Brothers, but if you're going to have them on the show, fine. If you got to do what you got to do to get Braun off of this program and onto SmackDown full time, fine. But it is what it is at this point. Overall, this episode of NXT was solid enough. Lyra Valkyria and Roxanne Perez, their promos need work. That can be said for pretty much all the women on the show. Almost all of them are really lacking in personality when it comes to promos, except Lash Legend. She has a lot of personality in her promos. But a lot of them, they lack personality in their promos. Lola Vice versus Natalya was actually not a bad match. Stax versus Ilya Dragunov was not a bad match. The War Dogs versus Alpha Academy actually wasn't terrible either. Booker T just continues to be funny. Him being tongue-tied looking at Jasmine Nix was pretty funny. Now, that girl is old enough to be his daughter, but it was still entertaining that he, saw her and was like, woof. He also was in complete and total shock and horror. Like, what is Natalya doing here? And why is she dressed like that? Even though the answer was obvious. Booker T, just half in the bag is so entertaining. I don't need you to know the names of all of the moves, okay? I just need you to be funny. And Booker T is that. All right, he's goddamn hilarious. So that was NXT. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Tell me what's worse than learning all that you led to believe was all horse crap. They distort, so question it.